Coach Prime and the Buffs are working on the lifeline of college football this weekend, and that's recruiting. And we're going to talk about it. Big time names, big time movement. We'll see what Colorado stands, see how they're going to do, see who's coming. And of course, we'll talk about how those visits go. Before we do any of that, though, you know what we got to do? we got to hit it. It's not a show if the intro music is not rocking and rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. But let's just hop right into it, man. Let's talk about these massive visits that are lined up for the Buffs over the next couple of days. First being four-star linebacker, the number one linebacker, depending on where you look in this class, Isaiah Williams, currently committed to Ole Miss. And I got to tell you, man, this recruitment has been a wild one. Early committed to Syracuse, then FSU, then was committed to Florida about a month and a half ago for about 2 weeks, and then recently just flipped to Ole Miss and was recently at Florida this past weekend, and now again is at Colorado. Look, as a number one linebacker, do what you got to do, boo. You got to go do and visit and talk and see who you need to talk and see. And look, Colorado, this is what they're doing fantastic. This is what we've talked about. When you put together an elite staff like you have at Colorado, this is how you're able to host and just bring in these guys. Most coaches, which we've talked about on the show, are having to fly and travel and go see these guys. Now, they're still visiting schools, but are putting much more time and effort in. But again, Colorado's sitting in a very, very fantastic place where they're able to lure in elite recruits like Isaiah Williams, the 6'2", 215 pounds. You see, this one has number 3 linebacker. Again, it changes so frequently. Number 1, number 2, 3. Ultimately, a top linebacker is visiting Colorado this weekend. And we're going to talk about a couple of linebackers from this class that have visited and that are set to commit here in the next couple of days. Just so you're aware, this is kind of the last big weekend, I believe, maybe one more of official visits that will be happening, because then there's going to be a dead period for recruiting, which starts June 29th, going all the way through July 31st. So typically what we'll see is a massive amount of visits happening this month of June, which we're seeing that. Some schools have already wrapped up their visits. Colorado is kind of, again, more towards the back half of June. And then the commitments will start to happen in the month of June. We're usually around that 4th of July weekend. That happens. And then others will wait towards August, right before school starts. And then, of course, you'll have your ones that flip and go into the season. But that's besides the point. Just so you're aware, the next couple of weeks are going to be hectic when it comes to recruit. Now, as for some other big names that are visiting this week, first off being C.J. Sadler, 5'9" athlete, 170, currently favored to go to Michigan. I want you to understand, too, we'll talk about where all these guys are favored thus far. Keep in mind, they're now out of Colorado, so these percentages can change, and Colorado just kind of, or On3 puts in how they're feeling, right, based on their conversations with them. They haven't had a conversation after their visit to Colorado, so things can change after these visits, okay? So keep all these things in mind. But C.J. Sadler, man, nationally ranked top 100 recruit, 6th athlete, ranked in the country. This would be a monster get. And again, if you're Coach Prime of Colorado, you've got a great pitch when it comes to just, hey, we produce athletes around here that play all over the football field that have major success. We actually have a Heisman Trophy if you want to check that out to see what we can do with an athlete. Again, when you label a kid an athlete, they just play all over the football field and not quite have a true position because they just can do anything they want them to do. Now, they'll find a home in college football, but in high school, they play all over the football field. They're so dang good at every single one, they don't know which one to give them, okay? So that's how that works. Next being is Preston Ashley. We've talked about him quite a few times on this show. I think or Colorado has been heavily in the mix on this one, but Ole Miss seems to be leading the way currently. 5'10", 185. Again, top 250 player nationally. ESPN has him as a top 100 recruit. And On3 and 247 have him as a 4-star, 90 rated 4-star. So again, another top tier talent here at that cornerback position that is visiting this week, along a few others. And then, of course, Rodney Colton here at the bottom linebacker. Like I said, there's one more linebacker we're going to talk about here in just a moment. 6'1", 205, top 250 ranked nationally. A lot of top tier guys. And this young man, if you look at his prediction, nobody really knows where he's going quite yet. Florida State's in the mix, Ole Miss is in the mix, Penn State's in the mix, UCLA, and of course now Colorado. So it'll be really interesting to see where Colorado sits with a lot of these guys after this big weekend that they're set to have with recruits. Now, next up here is, again, another 4-star guy. This is offensive lineman. Offensive linemen always fire me up to get to talk about them. These are the big guys that you always want to try to get. These are big pieces for development that you want to try to focus on. 6'4", 295, Javion Cooper. Now, with ratings on this, again, you see 357 nationally, 28th ranked overall. and tackle. He's a top 200 player, though, on three. So other recruiting sites have him a little bit lower. That's why that national number is a little bit higher, that 357 range. But on three has him as a top 200, damn near top 200 recruit. Currently committed to Syracuse, but it looks like he's everything but committed to Syracuse because there's a lot of predictions for him going elsewhere, like UCF, West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Penn State. A lot of Big 12 teams in the mix there. So you got to believe that Colorado has a very fantastic chance here. He is from Florida. Okay, so Colorado will be a heck of a jump for him to go, but Coach Prime's done a great job when he dips his toe into Florida on bringing those guys, especially in that IMG area, if we all recall there. And again, I think with what Jordan Seat was able to do, I think you have a very good opportunity to recruit guys from Florida, especially on that offensive line one. So he is also visiting these next few days. So a lot of big-time names, a lot of big-time visits. It'll be exciting to see how Colorado can capitalize on these official visit weekends, what they're able to do. We know Coach Prime is back from that health issue, so we'll see how all that plays a factor. And then lastly, we're going to be talking about, that's not what we're talking about, is a linebacker Colby Johnson here. He is set to make his announcement on July 1st. So like I said, a lot of guys will be making their announcement in the next couple of weeks. July 1st, he will be making his announcement. He's just coming off his official visit with Colorado. Said he loved it. Says official visit went amazing. What stood out to him, which we talk about constantly, was the 200 years of NFL playing or coaching experience on that staff. And how does it? It should be appealing to everybody that is associated with going to that school or wanting to commit to that school. So, again, these are all things that we'll be keeping our eyes and ears pinned to over the next couple of days, couple of weeks with these commitments happening. We'll have more videos drop over the next few days because, again, this is just a handful. I believe there's a few more names that I didn't even go over yet because there's just so many guys to talk about. Wanted to give each individual their own little sector. And for those of you that are kind of just junkies and really are dialed into this recruiting, wanting to know where the Buffs' future is, again, I know that the portal movement has been more of a focus for Colorado, but we've been seeing it more and more. These guys, like, they're still going to continue to approach this recruiting window and continue to bring these guys on campus. So fun to monitor, fun to keep up with. Let me know in the comment section below. If you could choose out of one of these guys, who's a must-get for you? Out of these recruits, who do you like the most? Who do you feel the most confident in of the names that I just mentioned? That, hey, the Buffs, I feel like the Buffs are in a great place. I think they've done well in this area at recruiting up until this point. Feel really good about it. Let me know down below. Smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love, baby.